Welcome back to the show. Another great weekend of Sunbelt football. It's Andrew Zimmel. It's Scott Watkins breaking down another great week in Sunbelt football. We got to start with I don't know what the Chanticleers do. The Chanticleer like yell. I don't know, but Coastal Carolina looks really good. Scott.
Absolutely. We've been saying it all year long, and they finally reached the pinnacle of Sunbelt football, which is ranked somewhere in the 20s nationally.
Well, they beat a number 21 ranked Louisiana Lafayette. RIP to them. They're not going to ever be back in the top 25 after losing to Coastal. We were talking about it before the show, and I said legally, I think the AP poll can only have one Sunbelt team in the top 25 at any given week. They cannot put more than one Sunbelt team in. It's frustrating. We both agree that Coastal should be higher than 25, what they're ranked right now. But what a game on Thursday night, or I should say Wednesday night.
Yeah, of course. That was a phenomenal game. I wish I could remember it better because that's the game that came the day after that we'll talk about. Just so much happened in that one that wiped away the previous day. But that first game was absolutely phenomenal. I thought, I told several people before the game, this is probably going to be the most evenly matched game of the year. I mean, not just in the Sun Belt, but you're going to have a hard time finding two teams in the country that are so close to each other as Louisiana and Coastal Carolina are. And on this day, it was Coastal Carolina that came out, and it was just so perfectly matched. And you got the best yards per play offense against the best yards per play defense. You've got the two most disciplined teams in the Sun Belt, and it came down to a field goal from Massimo Biscardi. So that it was a perfect game. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I'm very happy that Coastal Carolina won the game, actually, because I'm a big Coastal Carolina Chanticleers fan. Always have been ever since birth. And very excited for the shots right now.
I was born on the teal field. I will die on the teal field. I love it. No, Coastal Carolina looked really good. I think that this could be a preview of the Sun Belt Conference Championship, and now that game will potentially be in Myrtle Beach or on Myrtle Beach. That'll be in Coastal Carolina now because they won that, and I think it's the team with the best record gets the home field in our championship game. Scott, you probably know better than I do.
I believe so. The first thing, for whatever reason, is a team with the highest college football playoff ranking, which at the time seemed really stupid, but now it could be a thing. Like one of these teams could be ranked by the end of the season, and will be the home team based on that ranking. So it'll be fun to see how that turns out.
Well, I'm just saying this could have been a preview, and I do not count Louisiana out yet. We'll get to them. We'll get to all the games coming up this week. We got to talk about Arkansas State and Georgia State, though. Arkansas State up and down this season. They have two quarterbacks at the beginning of the year that we thought could be starters. Now we have a guy that's kind of taken the reins and really put his foot on the neck, I think, of every team that he's played. What'd you like at Arkansas State in this one?
Out of Arkansas State, I think that they did what they do offensively. There wasn't really much that I didn't like. I mean, when you watch a 59-52 game where it's touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, and you're not a fan of either team, and you just like watching football, there's not much in there that you don't like. But if you're Arkansas State, I think that there's more. There's really more that you really don't like, and that's on the defense. And of course, Arkansas State handled that very, very extremely tough decision last week, of course, with the defensive coordinator being let go and the defensive pass game coordinator being let go as well. But that we'll see how that plays off down the road. It seems like Arkansas State has finally made a big decision on that side of the ball. They haven't been extremely, great on that end in a few years, ever since Javon Rowland-Jones graduated. So we'll see how that manifests itself throughout the year. But offensively, Lane Hatcher and Logan Bonner, this is probably the best 1-2 quarterback duo we've ever seen in college football, honestly, because think about it. Who is coming out with these two quarterbacks? Name one team that's using a two quarterback situation as well as Arkansas State. Not we've got this other guy, we'll try him out in this situation right here, or we'll bring out this quarterback in the fourth quarter when we're winning the game. Not a team with, Baker Mayfield, and then he's got Kyler Murray behind him. That doesn't count. That's not a two-quarterback system. A
What
team like
about okay?
Arkansas State.
What about Notre Dame a couple years ago that had Kaiser and then the other guy? Do you remember that? They were running
Yeah,
like a
but
starting and relief pitching type of rotation in Notre Dame. No.
it's not this level. It's not like this. I mean, because it's a perfect system. It's not a, hey, we're gonna roll with this guy until he slows down when we put this guy in. It's not like a, you're looking over your shoulder type of deal. It's this is your drive, and then this is his drive. You know this. You know how much you're gonna play, and you know who you're gonna go to, and it's all perfect. It's all a great system, and it's working really, really well right now for Arkansas State.
Do you think this is something that can work the rest of the season, though, Scott? Because I always think that there's an expiration date on the, hey, we're going to toss two quarterbacks around for as long as we can.
I think that it will. I mean, they haven't shown any signs of weakness, really. Of course, with having a two-quarterback system, one of those quarterbacks might be having a bad day through 2 or 3 quarters, and they can just run with the other one the rest of the way. But I think that even if that happens in the next game, they'll probably go right back to that two-quarterback setup. So I don't think there's really a chance. Well, of course, there's a chance. I don't think that we're going to see them intentionally go away from this situation.
So from Georgia State, they gave up 59 points. You're looking immediately at the defense. You're saying, what can they do better? But this isn't, I think, a complete loss for them, is it? I think that you can take a lot of good things out of this game.
I mean, I think so because, coming in, I was not sold on the Georgia State quarterback. I saw him play in person several times last year, and he looked so raw and looked like he had a lot of work to do. Last year was his true freshman year, though. The dude looks amazing this year. I mean, he's fantastic this year right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're a Georgia State fan, you're looking at Quad Brown, you're going, holy crap, we've got this guy for 4 years. So this is a great building block for Georgia State to build on. Of course, you never want to lose those games, but Georgia State's in a spot right now that honestly I don't think a lot of people really expected them to be in.
0-2 in conference, or did you? Because that's the question. Like you say, they're in a spot a lot of people didn't expect them to be in.
Maybe Georgia State fans thought that they'd be better off right now, but I personally did not see Georgia State being very good this year.
Oh, okay, all right.
Being very good at all. I don't know. Maybe the total expectation was a little bit different. I personally thought that we would see a very struggling offense. We'd see a stronger defense this year, which we actually have before the Arkansas State game. The Georgia State defense was playing well, but I thought the offense would really struggle, and they're not struggling at all right now.
All right, well, Arkansas State's defense is still struggling. That's going to be something they're going to have to patch up this coming week. Let's talk about Saturday's games. Do you want to start with – we'll start with Georgia Southern just beating the absolute snot out of UMass because neither one of us had a big dog in that fight. Georgia Southern now 3-1, 2-0 at home. We said UMass might be the worst team in the country. ULM, very close behind them. 41 points is 41 points, Scott. Are you impressed by Southern's offensive output?
I'm impressed that they did it so quickly.
Mm.
I think they reached 28 points in the first half, and they did so very, very quickly. That's what I'm impressed about. A total of 41 against UMass, not so much. I was surprised that Georgia Southern they ran up the score so much. I picked UMass to cover in this game because I just did not think Georgia Southern was going to score as quickly as it did. So I think that's the more impressive part. I'm not looking at this game and going, wow, Georgia Southern, they're so good right now for beating UMass 41-0. Not at all. As of right now, this is UMass's one and only game of the season, and they are, like you said, probably the worst team in college football right now.
I 1,000% agree. I got to give the Georgia Southern quarterback a little bit of credit, though. 12 of 17, 127 yards, and 3 TDs. I don't know about you, Scott. I don't know if you did this with me last year, but I did a fantasy football, college football type of thing. And first mistake I made is I opened it up to everybody. There's like 130-something college football teams. Way too many players to keep track of. But the other mistake I made is I put too much weight on passing touchdowns. I think I made them 5 points instead of 3. And we had a couple games like this where somebody throws for 200 yards and a bunch of TDs, and now all of a sudden they have a 40-point game. It was awful. But I want to give him some credit. I want to give Georgia Southern some credit because scoring 40 points is not an easy thing to do. All right, let's talk about your Troy Trojans, who eked one out against Eastern Kentucky. What was the panic level in that game for you, Scott?
For me, it
Yeah.
was actually really high. I was sitting there in the press box with 20 seconds left, and I'm thinking to myself, I shouldn't care. I'm in the press box writing this game, but here I am literally shaking because we're about to lose to FCS Eastern Kentucky, a team that I saw early in the year, and they just looked absolutely terrible. I'm thinking, okay, Troy's going to win this game by 35, 40 points. Here we are with 20 seconds left, losing. So the panic level is absolutely very, very high. If it wasn't for the kick return at the end of the game, there's no chance that Troy would have won that one. Big shouts out to Evan Lagasse for making that field goal. He came into the game 3 for 11 in his career. It's not been pretty. He was 1 for 5 as a freshman, didn't kick any place kicks his sophomore year or junior year. Here he is in his senior year. He's 2 for 6 now, or I guess 3 for 7 now. So he made it when it counts. That's all that matters. I'll continue. I'll go ahead and answer whatever question you have next about it. I don't think that this was a defensive thing for Troy. I think it was kind of natural to point the blame at the defense at this point because that's where the fault has been in Troy since last year. But I think that it was more of an offensive thing. You can't turn the ball over 3 times on your own side of the field and expect to blow out the other team.
Now, so I want to take you back a week. On this podcast, I said Texas State, Troy, South Alabama, 3 teams that I kind of consider in that same realm. And you laughed at me. You said Texas State is much worse than Troy. Would you like to redact that statement after almost losing to an FCS opponent on Saturday? Or do you still stand by your Troy is much better than Texas State?
I think Troy is 20 points better than Texas State.
Okay. I'm just saying, almost losing to Eastern Kentucky, I looked at it on my score guide and I said, hold on a second. That doesn't look right. I thought something was wrong on ESPN when I saw that final. I thought that Troy somebody got hurt. Coach got COVID or something. I don't know what was going to happen. But for them to barely eke this out, panic level coming into the rest of the season, where are you at right now?
I'm not panicking right now for the rest of the season.
That's good.
I think that this next game will tell a lot about where the team is at mentally, but I'm not really panicking.
Well, let's talk about my Texas State Bobcats, who have found a way to hurt me every single day of my life. They ended up losing by 10 to South Alabama, and I'm not going to lie to you. I thought that Texas State was going to pull this one off. I know you're going to say to me I'm a crazy person. I know I'm wearing the maroon and gold, but let me tell you, I'm watching this game, and I'm watching Brady play, and I'm thinking to myself, you're in a good spot. You come into halftime, it was 17-10 at halftime, South Alabama. I'm thinking to myself, well, if Texas State can just get something going here in the third quarter, we're good to go. I don't know whose idea it is to open up the playbook and go with a quarterback draw, run the ball on first and second down. I'm at a loss of words right now, Scott, for what Texas State's doing. Hats off to the Jaguars, though. I hate their jerseys. Their stadium looks really nice. But I don't know. I don't think South Alabama is 10 points better than Texas State is where I end this. I don't think that they are. I think Texas State has found another way to hurt me.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that South Alabama and Texas State are still. I think if you play this game 10 times, it might come out 5-5. Really, especially if you split it, home and away.
You're gonna make me blush.
I only watched the first half of this game because I had to run up to Troy. But Texas State and South Alabama. Texas State, I was not expecting to start 1-5 after seeing how they played in the first 1 or 2 games, and then knowing who's next. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I was really not expecting Texas State to start 1-6 on the season with how they played in the first 1 or 2 games. But here we are. Hey, best 1-5 team in the country, though.
Yeah, that's something I've said a lot. I don't think that this team wins 3 games, Scott, and I thought this was going to be a 6-win team. Like, I honestly did. I thought they were going to lose to the powerhouses like Coastal, Lafayette, App State, the ones that you're not going to win. Troy, I know you think that they're a 20-point team, but that's a winnable game for Texas State, the way they played against SMU, the way they played against UTSA. Very disappointed. You can go back to the kickers, who that kicker made it kick on Saturday. Shocked that he is still alive and well and in San Marcos. I thought that he would have been run out of town by now, but they have the same kicker, so more power to him. But man, this was frustrating. Got another one. And now Texas State continues. They're going to be on ESPN on this weekend because I got it right this time. This weekend they play on ESPN proper against BYU. And then next week they play Lafayette on ESPNU. So the entire country continues to see my disappointment in this team. Drives me crazy.
Yeah, I think Texas State has already gone through its stretch of games where it probably should have won a few times before it got to this point. Because
No kidding.
It's all downhill from here.
It's rough. All right, let's go through this slate of games. We start on Thursday night. We have Arkansas State playing App State. I think that's going to be a really good one. Friday, Lafayette versus UAB, another one between two powerhouse teams. Saturday, Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina, Georgia State, Troy, ULM, South Alabama, and then to kick the night off, number 12, BYU faces off against my Texas State Bobcats. All right, let's start on Thursday night, Arkansas State, App State. Arkansas State playing against App State in what is going to be App State's first conference game. I do not want to play Arkansas State as my first conference game. Like, I think that this team is rolling. I think App State has a lot of questions. I think they had a lot of questions before they went on this, elongated COVID break type thing that they've been on. I strongly believe that Arkansas State wins this game. I think that they're going to go into App State and beat App State at home because App State has not played in for forever. What are your thoughts?
I don't feel strongly that Arkansas State is going to win this game, especially with the ginormous difference in defensive talent between App State and Georgia State. From just a pro football focus standpoint, you're looking at the two best or the best corner combo in the country at App State right now, guarding Jay Adams and Dahu Green. I don't give a damn who wins this game. I want to see Jay Adams and Dahu Green against Sean Jolly and Shamar Jean-Charles. That is the best wide receiver for a secondary matchup in the entire country right here on Thursday.
So I'm looking at this, though, Scott, and look, App State is 2-1, but who have they played? That's what I'm looking at.
They played a ranked Marshall team. That's who they played, a ranked team.
And they lost to that ranked team by 10.
They were ranked.
I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, cool. App State, good corners, they haven't played anybody. You know what I mean? They're 11-point favorites at home, which I can see that line moving very rapidly down towards Arkansas State. I don't think Arkansas State's going to be a favorite in this one, but look, we just talked about the quarterback play for the Wolves. I think that they're going to win this game. I really do. I think they're going to go into App State and beat them.
I don't think so. I really think that there's just a massive difference in defensive talent between App State and literally every single other team that has faced. What's the spread again?
11.
It's double digits. It's 11. I don't think the App State covers. I really don't think so. But I think that App State wins. I think they finally get it done. I think this will be a big moment for App State. They need it. They need it really badly. If they lose this game, then they're in trouble. I feel like I already think this is not the Mountaineer team that we're used to of the last few years. And if they lose this game, we're not going to see that Mountaineer team that we were used to for the rest of the season.
Zach Thomas hasn't played in a bunch of weeks. Is he still the best quarterback in the Sun Belt, or have both of the Arkansas State quarterbacks surpassed him at this point?
Absolutely not. We're looking at Both Arkansas State quarterbacks, Grayson McCall. I think Gunnar Watson already is better than Zach Thomas. Quad Brown has played phenomenally. Levi Lewis is up there. Shai Wertz is up there. Zach Thomas, he's like number 7 right now.
Wow. Look, I have a quick story. Guy played for Texas State. His name was Tyler Jones. Coming out of his junior year, NFL scouts said that he was going to be a top 3 pick in the draft. He said, I think I can get higher. I'm going to stay in college. Stayed at Texas State, ended up not doing anything. I think that he has a farm now that he hunts on. I don't know what that guy's doing. Case in point, Zach Thomas. That dude last year, I think he could have got drafted. He probably goes to the NFL, probably does something. Now, I'm looking around, and like you said, 6th best quarterback in the Sun Belt doesn't get taken in the NFL draft, doesn't even get looked at as an undrafted guy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tough.
Where are you, Zach Thomas? We're going to put out a milk jug on Sun Belt pages. Zach Thomas missing.
All right, Friday. This is the game that I have circled on my calendar. Raging Cajuns, UAB. UAB, a program that was a zombie. They've come back to life, and they're kicking teams' asses. I love it. I think that Lafayette's going to struggle in this one. Even after losing to Coastal, this is a must-win, almost a must-win game for them. I know it's not a conference game, but UAB is not a pushover team. They're favored 2.5 points at home, UAB is. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
This is a phenomenal matchup, really. The only reason I'm worried about Louisiana too, because they have not been very explosive this year on offense like they really should have been with that running back group, and they really haven't done much. They've been great on defense. I thought they've been really impressive. That's really where they're gonna have to lean on this week. I think you're looking at a really low scoring game. I think probably under 40, 45 points total. But I like Louisiana just because of how disciplined and how well coached the Cajuns are. So I think that might be the difference in this one.
2.5 points. I think that Lafayette isn't going to cover this. I think UAB beats them by more than a field goal.
I don't know. I think Louisiana wins by exactly 1 point.
Wow. Look at you. Call your shot. All right. 11 a.m. kickoff on ESPNU. All of these are subject to COVID changes, of course. Coastal Carolina hosts Georgia Southern. Coastal, a ranked team, 6.5 point favorites. This is one where the Chanticleers got to put their name on it. Your Troy Trojans, biggest example for me, beat LSU and then end up fumbling the bag the next week. I'm looking at Coastal thinking to myself, this is your chance. You're 25 in the country. This is where you beat Southern. A couple top 25 teams lose because they always do. And now you're in a 21 team in the country. What are your thoughts coming into this one?
You got to break the curse. You have to break the curse. You're sort of right with the Troy thing. The curse actually started the year before that when Troy beat App State, got to number 25 on Sunday. 3 days later, played on a Wednesday night and just got smacked to hell and back by Arkansas State. And Trojans haven't been to the top 25 again. Georgia Southern has beaten 2 ranked App State teams in 2 years. These are the ranked Sun Belt killers right here. If Coastal Carolina, you have to understand that. This is what Georgia Southern does. This is what they thrive off of playing ranked Sun Belt teams.
In a conference that is clearly the David to everybody else's Goliath, they're the Davidiest to the top 25 teams in the Sun Belt Conference. I'm looking at them as the little brother swinging up at Coastal. Our Chanticleers have to pull this one off, though, Scott, because if they lose, I'm going to cry.
Absolutely. I mean, this is where we're hanging our hat right now. Things aren't going so great across the board, but the Chanticleers, they're a phenomenal reason to be happy, be excited every time that they play. What time do they play?
11 a.m. You got to wake up early for this one, Scott.
Heck yeah. I'll be able to watch the first 3 quarters of that one. Very, very excited about it.
All right. 3 p.m. ESPNU, back-to-back Sunbelt games. Georgia State, Troy. This is where Troy can make their money. Prove me wrong. Prove to me that you aren't just 2 points better than an FCS opponent. Georgia State's coming in looking for blood, and Troy has to show up in this one. It's a home game for the Trojans. They are 2.5 point favorites. I think Troy gets this one done. What are your thoughts?
Well, you're right. Georgia State is riding a lot of momentum, and they feel very, very confident right now, especially offensively. So I'm looking at a very high-scoring game. If the Trojans can rectify their offensive mistakes, the penalties, they racked up 130 yards of penalties against Eastern Kentucky. That was another thing I didn't mention earlier. If they can not turn the ball over on their own side of the field like they did 3 times on Saturday, we're looking at a very high-scoring game that either team can come out on top of.
I like Troy. I think that Troy does prove me wrong and actually does show up against Georgia State. And I think that the way that Atlanta has played these last couple days, last couple weeks, last couple years, they got to show up against Troy.
Well, I wish you hadn't brought that up.
I'm just saying that if there's one team to be excited about, it's got to be Georgia State, right? Can't be the Bulldogs. Can't be Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah. It's got to be Georgia State. All right, ULM plays South Alabama. South Alabama, 14.5-point favorites at home. ULM marching towards the bottom of college football. 0-5. Can they make it 0-6, Scott?
Of course they can. I am cheering hard for an 0 whatever games they play this season. I want to see it happen. I want to see this football team buried in the dirt, done and gone. I think South Alabama wins by 20+.
So here's the deal. You got to lose all the games before you can win games. Take it from me, a Texas State fan. We've continued to win 1 or 2 games. I think if we just bottomed out, we'd be better. Kill all hope. All hope is lost. Kill the program, and then be like UAB and resurrect it. That's what you got to do. That is the blueprint now for these awful teams.
Possibly, or you get stuck as UTEP and suck forever.
Yeah, the limbo that is UTEP. 20 points? You think they're going to beat them by 20 points, though, South Alabama?
Yes, I like their quarterback situation. I love Desmond Trotter, love Jalen Tolbert and Kawan Baker. It's a very explosive offense, and I don't think that ULM has what it takes on its side of the ball to keep up.
If there was one team to prove us wrong, hopefully it's ULM this week. All right, I'm going to let you guess the line here. Number 12 BYU hosting Texas State. That game is at 9:15 on ESPN. I doubt a lot of people will stay awake for this entire game, Scott. I'm going to let you guess the line. What do you think Texas State is underdogs by?
Does it start with a 3?
It does.
Is it 30?
It is 30 points. My Bobcats are projected to lose by in this one. I find it hard for any team to beat another team by 30 that isn't Clemson. You know, like Clemson can run up teams. I'm looking at it. I'm thinking to myself, maybe something can happen. The over-under is 60. It's 59.5. So you're telling me that they think that Texas State is going to score, 20 points, and that BYU is going to score 50 to get to what? 70 points? Like, come on.
Yeah, so if BYU beat Troy by 41 and Troy beat Texas State by 20, so we're looking at a 61-point game here.
There's no way. There's no way Texas State loses by 61 points.
75-14 BYU.
They're not scoring 75 points.
75-14 BYU. Zach Wilson throws for 600 yards.
Texas State, according to ESPN's Power Index, has a 3.2% chance of winning. Look, Brady's thrown 6 TDs, 2 interceptions. He's missed a couple games because of COVID. Like, come on. You got to give me something here.
I think that Texas State has a 3.2% chance of covering the spread.
I think they cover. 30 points is a lot of points. Like, for those of you at home that are keeping track, 30 points, that's a ton of points. We're not talking 10 field goals here. We're talking like they got to go up and down the field and score some points. I don't think that's going to happen. But I am excited. Every time Texas State plays a Heisman contending quarterback, it's always fun to watch. Because at least you can say, hey, I was on the same field as so-and-so. The most disappointing was Gary Ward Jr. in 2016, who was a preseason favorite. Like, I think he was like the 3rd guy for the Heisman, and his season at Houston really fell off. But I was excited because I got to see a guy who was going to be really good. Thought he was going to be really good. I think he played wide receiver in the NFL, though, so did not translate to the pro leagues nearly as well as I think people thought he was.
Yeah, this will be fun. I'm gonna have a lot of fun watching it myself. I will watch the entirety of it. I
You're
will
not
be up
staying up
until
till midnight to watch Texas State
I
lose.
I'm up till midnight to do pretty much nothing almost every night. So I will gladly stay up till midnight to watch Zach Wilson.
What's the last BYU quarterback who even got a shot at the Heisman? Do you remember?
No, I don't. It has to be a long time ago. Had to be.
Yeah, because I'm thinking to myself, like, BYU, have they been relevant in my life? I don't think that they have. I think Boise State has been a more relevant team in my lifetime than BYU. So for BYU to have a guy who has gotten them to top 15 in the country, shoot, they might be knocking on the door of a top 10 team when this is all said and done. It's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I was checking. They got several top 10 votes. I think they got as high as 8 or 6 on a couple of ballots. This is a team that has been ridiculous. They just plow through people. It's crazy. I
Now,
thought
I know that we
UTSA
do.
did a phenomenal job playing that game close.
I'm not giving UTSA any credit. Uh, I know that you do the against the spreads. We do them on the page. I don't know if you have those records in front of you right now, but for the audience at home, I'm kind of hoping to get a little bit of hey, Zimmel's really killing it. This is where you can promote me against the spread.
You have been killing it. I don't have it right in front of me. I haven't even updated it yet, to be honest. But you have been. I don't know how Saturday played out. I don't honestly. I didn't double check that. I need to. I know that you were 2-0 on the weekday. I think I was too. I think we both picked the same. So yeah, definitely doing well. If you're following Andrew, you're making money. You're making money this year. If you're following Thomas, you're losing so much money this year. Don't follow Thomas's picks.
How is somebody so bad at picking against the spread? That is a question that I think needs to be answered.
You should ask Thomas. He's bad at picking against the spread, I guess. Well, his problem is he refuses to jump on the Coastal Carolina bandwagon. I think he's on it now, but all year long he's been, I want to wait and see. I want to wait and see. There's no waiting and seeing. Coastal Carolina arrived on day one when they murdered Kansas.
I was on board, Scott. Never forget, I co-pilot this bandwagon. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so.
All right. Scott, Andrew, check us out every week. We're breaking down this Sunbelt Conference. Hopefully we don't have any COVID cases. I know I'm doing pretty well over here. Scott, be safe.
You too, Andrew.